Most people believe money is just numbers on a screen, but money has always been about power and control, long before banks existed, and one man saw this danger coming centuries ago. When economic history is taught, names like Adam Smith dominate the story, but the real warning was written nearly 1,000 years earlier, hidden outside Western textbooks. This warning didn't come from a banker or a king, it came from a scholar who understood human psychology, and that insight makes his words terrifyingly relevant today. His name was Al-Ghazali, and he believed money without morality does not create prosperity, it quietly destroys civilizations from the inside out. To understand his thinking, you must imagine a world overflowing with wealth, expanding trade, and rising inequality, a world that feels disturbingly familiar. Around 1100 CE, the Islamic world was economically powerful, intellectually alive, and commercially advanced, while Europe was still struggling to stabilize. Markets were booming, trade routes were alive, and wealth moved faster than wisdom, creating cracks no one wanted to acknowledge. Al-Ghazali wasn't impressed by riches or expansion, because he saw something deeper, a moral imbalance forming beneath economic success. While others celebrated growth, he asked a dangerous question: what happens when wealth grows faster than values? And history would later confirm his fear. Al-Ghazali believed money was never meant to be worshipped, because money itself produces nothing. It only reflects the behavior of those who use it. He compared money to a mirror, valuable only for what it shows, dangerous when mistaken for the source of meaning. When societies begin to hoard money instead of circulating it, economic life slows, inequality deepens, and social trust begins to fracture. Hoarded wealth, to Al-Ghazali, was dead wealth, locked away from workers, families, and markets that depend on movement. He warned that hoarding doesn't protect societies, it silently suffocates them by freezing the bloodstream of economic life. Scarcity, he argued, is often artificial, created not by lack of resources, but by blocked circulation controlled by the powerful. This insight sounds modern because the mechanism hasn't changed. Only the scale has grown larger and more dangerous. Al-Ghazali also warned against speculation, calling profit without contribution a form of corruption that spreads like disease. He believed exploiting crises for gain destroys trust faster than any external enemy could. When trust erodes, markets collapse not suddenly, but invisibly, until damage becomes irreversible. Unlike critics of wealth, Al-Ghazali supported trade, enterprise, and profit, but only when rooted in honesty and contribution. Dishonest trade, false weights, hidden defects, and manipulation were not clever tactics to him. They were poison. Markets survive only when participants trust each other, and once trust disappears, no regulation can save the system. Long before modern economics, he understood transaction costs, moral hazard, and information asymmetry. Without technical language, he believed labor gave money legitimacy, while unearned wealth weakened both character and society. Work strengthened civilizations, while exploitation hollowed them out from within. Al-Ghazali also issued a powerful warning to rulers, because governments often corrupt money first when they feel threatened. Currency manipulation, debasement, and stealth inflation were forms of theft in his eyes, not policy tools. When rulers weaken money, they weaken trust, and once trust collapses, authority collapses with it. He predicted people would abandon manipulated currency, fleeing towards stronger alternatives, a pattern history would repeat endlessly. From ancient empires to modern states, this cycle plays out with chilling consistency. Al-Ghazali observed that corruption spreads downward, legitimizing dishonesty at every level of society. When rulers cheat, merchants cheat, and citizens justify shortcuts because integrity no longer pays. This chain reaction destroys economies long before resources run out. His conclusion was simple but terrifying: societies survive poverty, but they do not survive corruption. Collapse is rarely about numbers failing, it's about belief failing. Money works only because people believe in it, and belief depends on fairness and trust. Once people stop believing, money becomes paper, digits, or metal without meaning. Inflation panic, currency flight, and financial instability are symptoms of broken trust, not technical mistakes. Al-Ghazali understood human behavior deeply. Fear drives hoarding, greed drives speculation, and power drives manipulation. Systems collapse when incentives reward the worst instincts instead of the productive ones. Laws and markets matter, but human emotion decides how those systems function. A society cannot fix its economy without fixing its incentives. Wealth without responsibility becomes dangerous, not just spiritually, but economically. When individuals extract more than they contribute, the system weakens for everyone. Civilizations rise when balance exists between profit and responsibility. They fall when accumulation becomes detached from social duty. Al-Ghazali believed selfish societies collapse under their own weight, taking everyone down with them. This is why his ideas feel modern, because the problems never disappeared. Today's inequality debates echo his warnings about hoarding and stagnation. Speculative bubbles reflect his condemnation of profit without contribution. Currency crises mirror his fear of manipulated money. Institutional distrust confirms his belief that fairness sustains markets. Technology changed, speed increased, scale exploded, but human behavior stayed the same. Al-Ghazali would recognize modern debt, bubbles, and instability instantly. He would say the system isn't broken accidentally, it is misaligned morally. Numbers don't collapse economies, incentives do. Trust is the invisible infrastructure behind every transaction. When trust erodes, even wealthiest nations become fragile. Financial systems collapse slowly, then suddenly. Al-Ghazali wasn't preaching religion, he was describing reality. Money is not mechanical, it is behavioral. Economics without ethics becomes exploitation. Prosperity without justice is temporary. Wealth without meaning creates instability. His ideas survived because they explained patterns, not periods. History keeps repeating his warnings in different languages. Every crisis is a reminder of moral imbalance. Every collapse follows the same psychological blueprint. Societies ignore ethics when times are good. They search for ethics only after collapse. Al-Ghazali warned us before collapse was visible. That is why his insight feels prophetic. Money reflects who we are, not what we own. When values decay, wealth amplifies damage. When integrity fades, systems rot quietly. Collapse is not dramatic at first, it is subtle. It begins with shortcuts justified. It spreads through incentives rewarded. It ends when trust is gone. History punishes ignorance without mercy. Al-Ghazali understood money as a belief system. Once belief breaks, nothing holds. Financial protection begins with understanding this truth. The future repeats patterns the past already mapped. Wisdom delayed becomes crisis accelerated. Wealth detached from morality always collapses. The timeline changes, the outcome doesn't. Empires fall quietly before they fall loudly. Money doesn't destroy societies, people do. And systems reward what societies tolerate. Al-Ghazali saw tolerance for corruption as collapse in progress. Integrity was not optional, it was structural. Without fairness, markets are illusions. Without trust, currency is fiction. Without responsibility, wealth is a weapon. His warning still stands unbroken. History does not repeat, it confirms patterns. Ignore those patterns and collapse accelerates. Understand them and systems can survive. And that is why Al-Ghazali matters today, because money without morality doesn't fail loudly, it fails inevitably.